What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So last night's scent choice for the evening got me thinking, because it's one I haven't sprayed in a while, and it's a long time fragrance love for me. And it was like, it's time to do the annual revamping of, if I was to only keep 10 cheap fragrances for the rest of my life, what 10 fragrances would that be? Now, this is just a fun topic that changes year on year, especially when you're constantly getting new fragrances. But some things never change with this topic. And we're going to discuss that. So here's my 10. Stay tuned. Might as well start with the fragrance that sparked the idea in the first place. This is my big 200 milliliter bottle of Boss Bottled. Boss number 6. I actually wore this last night. It's been a while since I wore it. It's still an all-time great 90s classic. To me, it's still the best smelling Boss Bottle. The original still smells the best out of all of them. And I got a bunch of them right here. This is all Boss Bottled flankers right here. I got a bunch of them. I'm a fan. But the original is still the best. And people will, performance is always going to be a thing. I get it. And it doesn't perform that well, not like it did when it was the only Boss Bottle, back when it was just called Boss number 6. But you get this sharp, woodsy, spicy tone, apple pie smell, apple cinnamon, sharp woods. Very, I've always called it a great gray suit type of fragrance. It's sharp-dressed man kind of stuff with a little bit of freshness. It's got a touch of sweetness, a sharp, spicy, woody tone. It's a clean, classy, masculine vibe. That hasn't changed. I still think it's phenomenal. I still think everyone should try this before you start diving into all the flankers. I've had multiple bottles of this over the years, and I had picked this big 200 milliliter bottle up a few years ago for a really good price. That's why I have this bottle that I'll never finish. But I always have, I guess you can look at it as a lifetime supply of the original Boss Bottled. Now, this one may not surprise anyone because it's my favorite springtime fragrance. It's affordable. It's not blue, even though it's called Artisan Blue from John Varvatos. It's a very green fragrance. A lot of green notes, green citrus, fresh cut grass, spicy greens, all that good stuff. Every time I smell this, it makes me happy. It puts me in a great mood. This is such a springtime fragrance. It really is. Everything about this is awesome, except for the performance. This is another one that, historically, John Varvatos fragrances don't really perform that well. And you have to temper expectations. But if you're here for a great scent profile and wearing experience for not a lot of money, this is a really good one for that. This and Acqua Celestia Forte from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, my two favorite green dominant spring forward type of fragrances. And this one, I mean, if I had to just pick one, it's this. It's the affordable one. It doesn't remind me of a bunch of other fragrances, and it's like 4 hours maybe in longevity, but I don't care. Just refresh, get my hour of projection, and refresh again a few hours later, because it smells that good to me. This is John Varvatos Artisan Blue. So push come to shove, the original's the greatest of all time in this line. Because without this fragrance, all of these wonderful flankers wouldn't be out there for people to say, this is the best one, that is the best one. So the logic from that is going to make a lot of sense for you guys when I picked the original Azzaro Chrome. I wore this a few nights ago as well, and I felt it deserved a spot over what I typically would deem as my favorites, like the Eau de Parfum and the Extreme, for example, which are phenomenal. I think they're great reimaginings that stay true to this original scent profile and bring something new to the forefront that's a bit more modern. And, this is still a really good performer for what it is. It's super affordable. It's timeless. It's metallic, bright, sharp, citrus, aquatic, musky. It's great. It's an all-time great fragrance, and some things just deserve spots on lists like this. And Azzaro Chrome is that, because, again, I go back to, sure, I agree. There's a bunch of flankers that you would typically pick over this one. But without this, those don't exist in the first place. So this is one of those respect your fragrant elders type of situations. So I'm picking the original Chrome. Vacation in a bottle for $20. Tommy Bahama set sail St. Barts. All-time great cheapie in my opinion. It just smells like being on summer vacation. I mean, Alternative for Virgin Island water is what it's been touted for many years, and sure, it's a great alternative without smelling exactly like it. Because that's a pina colada creamy coconut type of smell, sugary, sweet, and boozy. Whereas this smells like a margarita on the rocks. It's got a tequila accord. It's salt instead of sugar. Salt, lime, tequila. What's that sound like? A frickin' margarita. Here you go. It's warm, it's boozy, it's fresh, it's tropical, citric. Man, it's good. And for being an eau de cologne concentration, it'll surprise you in performance. Maybe not everyone. You might be one of those people that say 30 minutes and it's gone, bro. And I'm not saying it's not 30 minutes and it's gone, bro, but for me, it's not. It's 4 or 5 hours for being an EDC concentration. It's actually quite impressive. This is a very old bottle at this point. I have a little more than half of it left. I strictly wear it in the summer when I'm in the mood for said type of feeling and vibe to feel like I'm on vacation. And this is beautiful. This has been in this list before, and it'll probably be in it again in the future because it's damn good. Yeah, I don't think I've ever walked in a Nordstrom rack and didn't see several bottles of this for 20 bucks. It's Tommy Bahama set sale St. Barts. Now this one's a new addition to this. It's that good. One of the most versatile, affordable fragrances I've ever smelled. Specifically to fit the price point that I consider a cheapie, which is $50 US and below, the 50 ml has to be here, which is what I have, because I don't need more than 50 ml anyway. It's Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. A lot of people love this fragrance, and for good reason. It's not too earthy of a vetiver smell. You get some citrus, some freshness. It's a clean, woody aromatic. It's masculine. It doesn't smell overly synthetic, but it's also not a super high quality natural smell. It really does the trick. Performance is above average. It's not a monster, but it's far from a weak fragrance. It's just clean. It's clean, everyday masculine, business professional, casual day. You could wear this damn thing to dinner if you really want to. It excels in every situation. While I don't think it's the star of any one show, I think it's a great supporting cast member for pretty much any play you want to put it in. How you like those analogies and situations I put this fragrance through? It's good at a lot, great at nothing. That's what most hyper versatile fragrances are. They work in everything. If I call it hyper versatile, it works well for everything. It's just not great at any one thing. That's exactly how I would deem this. But that makes it a lifer, though. When it comes to these hyper versatile fragrances, I don't have to think about it. I can just spray this one no matter what I'm wearing and where I'm going and what the temperature is. And I love stuff like that. Stuff like this, specifically. Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. A Mount Rushmore and, type of fragrance in my journey. This will always be in this video, probably. I may mix it up from time to time. Just know that in my heart, it's a lifer. It's Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. I've had many, many bottles of this. This is my newest bottle that I opened a few months ago because I finished up a 30 ml. This was the first fragrance I ever asked my parents to get me when I was in either 5th or 6th grade. I always go back and forth. I can never remember which year specifically. I want to say it was 1995. That's when Tommy Hilfiger really blew up. 3-hour fragrance at best. Another one, weak performance, but I don't care. I'll refresh, I'll respray. This reminds me of 90s and my childhood. It always has. It transports me there immediately every time I smell it. Citrus, bitter green, fresh, spicy, polo shirt type of fragrance. All-time great for me. Not everybody's going to agree, but that's okay. It's my picks. Your 10 may vary from my 10. Your 10 will vary from my 10. Everybody's got different emotional ties to these fragrances. And for me, this is probably the strongest, I guess we'll say, emotional tie to a fragrance would be this one as far as to my childhood, because this is the aroma of my childhood. It's kind of how I look at it. So, of course, it had to be here. It's Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. And with that said about Tommy, this is another one that goes on that Mount Rushmore of fragrances for me because it was pivotal along this fragrance journey, as we like to call it, because this is when I realized I'm really into fragrances. We're talking 2005. Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. I've had many bottles of this. I got this 40 ml real cheap at Marshall's years ago, and eventually I'll go through it. I still deem this to be the best smelling light blue, is the original. Citric, peppered, a little smoky, aquatic, fresh, clean, musky, all-time great compliment getter. Hyper versatile, maybe 5 hours in longevity. Who cares? Spray it again. This is so good. So good. My God, is this great. If you've never smelled this, you should smell it. You can get the O Intense. It's a better performer. It is a true intense flanker. It smells like an intensified twist on this DNA. It smells like this, but way stronger, more salty, and all that good stuff. It's much more aquatic. But this is beautiful stuff. I'll always have a bottle of this. This is just like with Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. This is when I realized I'm really into fragrances. At this point, '05, I was like 20. 19 years ago. Yeah, wow, 19 years ago with recording this. I'm old. At least that makes me feel old saying that. It was like, I've told this story so many times. My uncle got it before I did. And when I smelled it on him, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I need to have that. I got a not discovery set. I meant to say a gift set. And it's when I realized, like, I already had like 8 or 9 fragrances at that point. I was like, I didn't need this. But I felt like I needed this at the same time. It was like, because this was long before an online fragrance community or anything like that. And I was like, man, I really am into fragrances. I'll be damned. Like, that was the light bulb moment where I realized just how much I like to smell good and how much I enjoyed certain aromas. It was this fragrance. So naturally, it's going to be in a video like this. Dolce & Gabbana, light blue. Now, this is a stellar cheapie. If you like fragrances like Le Beau Le Parfum, it's a twist. It's not exactly the same fragrance, which I actually prefer that it's not the exact same fragrance. Orange, aromatics, stuff like that. It's not as floral or sharp and sweet. It doesn't have the same kind of citrus. But Mandarina Duck Vida Loca, I love this one ever since I got it last year. When warm weather rolls around, I start talking about this one. It's gotten cheaper. It's under $30 from discounters now. I don't know if it's in stock in the link down below. I didn't look before recording. It was last week. Man, in some ways, and I mean this when I say it, I find this a little bit more wearable and enjoyable than Le Beau Le Parfum. It's not as strong, but it's also not as sharp and synthetic and aggressively sweet. It still smells very similar. I would call this every bit of like 70% of Le Beau Le Parfum. It's an undeniable similarity, but it's not the same fragrance. There's differences here. Performance being a major one, it's like an average performer, 5-6 hours. You know, I get decent performance out of this one. But it's the way the citrus and the sweetness comes across to me that is similar but not the same, and I appreciate that. So while somewhat redundant, not overly redundant. So I enjoy wearing them for different situations. When I need more performance, I'm going to be gone for longer, I'll go with Le Beau Le Parfum. Going to the beach, going on shorter term trips, you know, around, out and about during a hot summer's day, that's where this shines. Mandarina Duck Vida Loca. Now, this is definitely a new one to this topic because it's pretty new to me. It is my hands down favorite. I love Invictus. That is not a secret. Anybody that's been watching this channel for a long enough time anyways. It doesn't have to be the entirety of the 5 years that I've been making fragrance content on YouTube, but it's no secret I love Invictus, Invictus Acqua, stuff like that. This is watermelon Invictus, Dumont Nitro Red. Beast Performer. It smells like melting a watermelon Jolly Rancher and putting it in a bottle of Invictus. And because it's hyped and because it got sent to me, some jackass, it might be you jackass, are going to say, oh, you're just a shill. They paid you to say that. No, you moron. I really like the fragrance. That's why it's in this video. Okay? If you haven't tried this yet, I don't know where you can find samples. I don't. It's probably going to be a blind buy. So you're a grown-up adult that makes your own money, make your own decisions. I'm not saying you need to buy this just because it's in my tin. But for me, this is fantastic. I don't think they'll be able to top it. For me, for my taste, happy accident I'm wearing red right now. I don't think Dumont is going to put out a fragrance I'll like more than this because Invictus is one of my all-time favorites. Until I got Invictus Acqua 2018, original Invictus was my favorite fragrance. And up until recently, I've touted Invictus Acqua 2018 as my favorite fragrance. So point being, I love that profile. I love the Rasasi Hawasses and all the different fragrances that people deemed boring because they smelled like Invictus in their opening. I've liked all of those. Original Azzaro Wanted, Night Vision EDT. You name the fragrance that smells like Invictus, I like it. So no shit, I love this fragrance. Watermelon Invictus with great performance, and it doesn't come across as cheap and synthetic as Invictus or Hawas and stuff like that. So do yourself the favor. Don't just go off of me loving this fragrance. Try it for yourself. You may hate this fragrance. There's a real possibility there. And then you'll be one of those jackasses that says, oh, it's make-believe. He doesn't really like that. Good for you, because I sure love the hell out of this fragrance. Hence why it's here. 10 for life, but I'm loving this currently. It's Nitro Red. This will be no surprise. Anybody that's been watching this channel for a while would kind of be offended if this wasn't here, and don't worry. I don't foresee it ever being moved or bumped off of this list and this topic. Salvatore Ferragamo, Acqua Essenziale Bleu. All-time great. I deem it to be an all-time great. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. It is one of my favorite blues because it's not the same run-of-the-mill blue as everything else, but it has elements of all of those said run-of-the-mill blues. Biggest difference here is the lavender tonka combo. It's not a real soapy fragrance. It gives this sweet, powdery, airy tone without being too sweet. Definitely leans on the powdery side, so be wary of that. If you don't like powder, you might not like this, but very fresh, spicy citrus at the top. Little hint of Bleu de Chanel citrus. Some ambroxan that's not overrun, so you don't get a heavy like Sauvage tie-in, but does give me a little bit of Dylan Blue elements and aromas here. Like kind of smells like Dylan Blue, but it's not Dylan Blue. There's a woody element here, and then the biggest, I think, outlier that grounds the scent is the cypriol oil adds this slight earthy tone to kind of reel it back in from being too sweet, from being too powdery, from being too shower gel. It's got a lot of these elements going on, and it's an above average performer. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then who doesn't love a good click with their cap? This is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. Has been for many years now. I have a backup bottle whenever I eventually go through this 50 ml because I'm up and down with this one. Sometimes I'm in the mood and I'll wear it a good bit for a little stretch and then I won't touch it for months and months. It's because I'm always testing new fragrances. I'm always getting new fragrances. It's what I do. I test and review fragrances. But I always make my way back to this one at some point. And I don't think that's ever going to change. It's that good. It's worth being in this video every time I revamp it. Salvatore Ferragamo, Acqua Essenziale Bleu. Last but not least, if you've never smelled this, you're missing out. It is a low-rome sport on a budget. It's Missoni Wave. This is phenomenal. This is absolutely phenomenal. Magnetic cap, great atomizer. Great scent, cool aesthetic on the bottle and colorway. Everything, I love everything about this. Slightly above average performance. I get like 6 to 7 hours in longevity. Some get less, some get more, some get the same. Everybody's different. Different skin, different noses, different strokes for different folks. It's kind of how you can look at it. But there's an undeniable similarity to getting a little bit of Versace Pour Homme and a lot of Chanel L'Homme Sport here. Citrus, aquatic. There's this creamy, sweet, floral, slight, ever so slight powdery tone. Clean and musky, not super woodsy. And it's not heavily floral. Like it's a vanilla orchid note. So it's got like this creamy, sweet floral smell to it, but not so flowery. It's more of a vanilla smell than anything else. This is great. I love this fragrance ever since I got it. I found this for $32 at TJ Maxx. You can get gift sets around $45, $50 from discounters online. It pops in and out of stock at different places. It's had its share of hype. I'm guilty of being part of that hype because if I really love a fragrance, I'm going to just speak overwhelmingly positively about it every time I talk about it. Hence what's happening here and now because I love this fragrance. And that's why it deserves to be in this video. When you feel that good about something, it deserves to be in a one you keep for life. Especially when we're doing price points like this. All-time great cheapie for me. Anywhere from $35 to $50, depending on what bottle size, where you find it, if it's a gift set, standalone bottle. I'll try to have it linked below. I don't know if it's in stock or not, but it's one I would encourage you to check out if you get an opportunity. It's Missoni Wave. Well, that is the 2024 edition of if I was to only keep 10 cheap fragrances for life, it'd be these 10. Subject to change from year to year. As you can see, a few spots changed because you get newer stuff. Vida Loca, Nitro Red, those are definitely new here. Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum, definitely new here. But some of these, been in this video for a long time, and I don't foresee that changing with a lot of them because long time love for fragrances is long time love for certain fragrances. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. What's that one cheapie for you that no matter what, you're going to have this one? That's not changing. It is your go-to. It's something you always gravitate towards. Definitely let me know down below. Until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the 10 that I plan on keeping and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.